From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Wednesday, June the 13th, 2018. The Times of Israel reports that White House Special Advisor Jared Kushner and U.S. Special Representative for International Negotiations Jason Greenblatt will travel to the Middle East next week to discuss a U.S. initiative for an Israeli-Palestinian peace plan, as well as the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. The visit is said to include stops in Israel, Egypt, and Saudi Arabia. The Jerusalem Post cited a National Security Council spokesperson saying that Kushner and Greenblatt are going to the region to discuss the situation in Gaza and to discuss the next stages of the peace effort, as well as get some ideas from players in the region about some remaining questions the White House peace team has. The United Nations General Assembly is set to vote today on a resolution condemning Israel for Palestinian deaths in Gaza. The measure, which is being put forth by Algeria and Turkey on behalf of the Arab League and the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, accuses Israel of excessive and indiscriminate force and calls for protection of the Palestinian civilian population in Gaza. It is similar to a resolution introduced earlier this month that we reported to you about at the UN Security Council by Kuwait, which was vetoed by the United States. U.S. Ambassador to the UN, Nikki Haley, called today's measure fundamentally imbalanced, as it completely ignores the responsibility of Hamas. Haley called for an amendment that condemns the terror group. She wrote in a letter to her fellow ambassadors, Hamas is not mentioned even once in the text. This omission, she said, should be unacceptable to all member states, given that Hamas fired over 100 rockets at Israel last month, provoked violent uprisings, and obstructed the flow of humanitarian aid to the Palestinian people. Israel's ambassador to the UN, Danny Danon, welcomed the U.S. amendment and said it is despicable for any country to even consider to vote for a resolution condemning Israel while refusing to support the condemnation of Hamas. Danon said such behavior is hypocritical at best and at worst amounts to openly emboldening an internationally recognized terrorist organization responsible for the deaths of countless innocent people. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu met today with a delegation from Latin America in Jerusalem. Netanyahu welcomed the chairpersons of foreign affairs committees of Latin American parliaments and urged them to move their embassies to Jerusalem, following in the footsteps of Guatemala and Paraguay. And Netanyahu today also welcomed the Prime Minister of Bulgaria to Jerusalem. Boyko Borisov called Jerusalem the historic center of the Jewish people and Israel, and said that while the Jewish people's relation to Jerusalem is indisputable, Bulgaria would not be relocating its embassy to the city until an Israeli-Palestinian peace deal was reached. Borisov praised Israel as an important and constructive component of the modern architecture of international relations, and Netanyahu thanked Borisov for his friendship, saying it's time that all of Europe's leaders understood that Israel is the one that defends our common interests in the Middle East, both in terms of security and in many, many other ways. Well, the International Soccer Federation, FIFA, said it will begin disciplinary proceedings against Palestinian Football Association head Jibril Rajoub for alleged threats and incitement. This follows the cancellation of the soccer game that was scheduled this past Saturday in Jerusalem between Argentina and Israel, called off by Argentina after BDS pressure and threats from Rajoub and others. The Israel Football Association, IFA, had complained to FIFA about Rajoub in particular, calling on soccer superstar Lionel Messi not to take part in the soccer game and telling his fans to burn their T-shirts and posters bearing Messi's name if he did play. IFA head Ofer Aini said today, thanks to proper and intelligent work, we are succeeding to explain to our friends in FIFA what truly hides behind the supposedly innocent proposals of someone who has crossed every red line. 2 Holocaust monuments were targeted last week. A plaque at the Ave Maria Public School in Paris Remembering Jewish children who were deported from there and murdered during the Holocaust was removed from the area. The school is located in the Marai, the historic Jewish quarter. District Mayor Ariel Weil, who is Jewish, called the incident shameful. On Sunday in the Netherlands, swastikas and other hateful symbols were found painted on a monument for Holocaust victims in the Midden-Groningen municipality. Local police were investigating both incidents. Meanwhile, a Dutch synagogue that was destroyed during the Holocaust has found new life. The Chasdei Enosh synagogue was inaugurated last week at Mevo Choron, a West Bank town outside Jerusalem. It is an exact replica of the Terborg synagogue, which was bombed in the city of Arnhem in the Netherlands in 1945. The original Torah scrolls, which survived the synagogue's bombing, are now housed in the new synagogue, which also names the Holocaust victims of the region on one of its walls. And that's the JBS News Update for Wednesday, June the 13th, 2018. I'm Teisha Bader.